Welcome to 843 TV, where communities come to speak. I'm your host, Carrie Smoot.
And I'm Michael Burgess with the Technical College of the Lowcountry.
Today we are here in Beach Market on the south end of the island.
And we have as our guest Charlie Clark. She is with the Hilton Head Island-Bluffton Chamber of Commerce.
We have Mr. Wayne Morris. He's the general manager here at WHHI.
And Robin Townsend. She is with the Daufuskie Island Tourism.
And this is 843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV, where communities come to speak. I'm Michael Burgess with the Technical College of the Lowcountry, here with
Carrie Smoot from the Village Spa.
And first up today, we have Robin Townsend. She's in the hot seat. She is the Daufuskie Tourism Chair. Robin, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
So what's happening with Daufuskie Tourism?
Oh, there's always a lot happening with Daufuskie, but some of the things that are currently going on, where Bloody Point Golf Course had been closed for some time, it has reopened. We have the Eagle's Nest restaurant, but we also have the golf course, the Bloody Point Golf Course, that has been so popular nationally, internationally. It's having a reopening early in October, so we're really looking forward to that. And there have been some changes also made at our Gullah Learning Center over on Daufuskie Island. They've made changes to some of the exhibits there, so we'd love for people to come and see that. And then, of course, there's self-guided tours as well as guided tours if someone would like to come and take advantage of that, or enjoy some of our restaurants over there, or even come and stay with us.
All right.
Well, you know, Robin, at the Chamber, I know a question that we get often is, how do I get to Daufuskie? There's no bridge, and people often, visitors look for the bridge. We're like, no, there are other ways. What's the easiest way for folks to get to Daufuskie Island?
I'd imagine the Chamber, you do get a lot of our questions, being that Hilton Head's our official chamber for Daufuskie. But we do have some wonderful options. A lot of people come to the Lowcountry because they want to enjoy our water here. Well, with Daufuskie, they can enjoy our water because the only way to get there is marine transportation, with the exception of if you have a private helicopter, you can set down over there, so that is an option. But for getting there, we have some wonderful water taxis in and out of the area. That would include over in Savannah and Bluffton. And then we also have the public ferry transportation that people are familiar with, that comes out of Marshland Road, the Calabogie cruises. So those are our primary options, are marine transportation, unless somebody wants to bring their private helicopter and set down.
Well, I don't have a private helicopter yet, but I have been to Freeport a bunch and been to Daufuskie several times. What else is there to do on the island? What can you tell us about just the activities and sites?
Some of the things that are real popular, I referred to, we'd had a change that impacts us, the change to our museum and our Gullah Learning Center over there. People find it they find it really fun because it's unique, is to do a self-guided tour, is to rent a golf cart, just drive up and down our sandy roads and look around and see a lot of our history there, or just the beauty and the nature that are there. Bird watching, and this is the time of year that when we get a lot of visitors to the Lowcountry, they're thinking about things to do, such as get out and enjoy nature. Bird watching is something that's very popular. We have a fantastic beach. We think it rivals any of the beaches around in the Lowcountry for people that want to spend time on the beach. And then, of course, we have some wonderful restaurants on Daufuskie that boaters actually make it a point to come over just to spend the day and enjoy the restaurants. And those are some of the things that are fun to do over on Daufuskie.
Yeah.
So how many restaurants are actually on Daufuskie?
At this point in time, we have some caterers, so there really are a lot of options, caterers. But as far as restaurants, we have the Old Daufuskie Crab Company. We have Marshside Mama's, that's very popular, well known in the Lowcountry, and now we have Eagle's Nest at Bloody Point, the Bloody Point Golf Course.
Okay, so tell us a little bit, there's a ton of rich old culture on the island, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that I really love to talk about, we do have culture that is very diverse, but one of the popular things about our culture is we lay in the heart of the Gullah Geechee corridor that's been getting a lot of attention right now. So, and ours is probably as rich as anyone here in the Lowcountry, or at least we feel like it rivals it. And one of the things that's unique is when we refer to the Gullah Geechee corridor, typically the sea islands are thought of as being Gullah, but our population on Daufuskie Island actually think of themselves as saltwater Geechee, which is pretty unique, and that is from their isolation, because they were even more isolated than some of our islands, and their connection was over with Savannah, and when you get inland, that's thought of as being Geechee. So ours were they thought of themselves as saltwater geechee, and that's not something that's commonly known here in the Low Country. And so those are some of the things that are real rich. And then we've had our oyster industry thrived at one point in time on Daufuskie. And the oysters, I think, are fascinating because the czars of Russia actually sent for the Daufuskies from Daufuskie's oysters because they were just so wonderful. So those are some of the things that are
That's a neat little trivia question.
It is.
Great information.
Yes.
Great, great. So you talked about Bloody Point. He mentioned it in terms of I think the golf course. And what's the origin of that name?
Well, it's an interesting name, and Bloody Point, because you think something like that, it just doesn't sound nice to start with. Yeah, it jumps out at you. You stick and remember it. Bloody Point actually comes from an Indian battle that took place, and I'm not great with numbers, but it took place many years ago. And it actually, the land and the water, there was such a massacre that the land and the water ran red with blood, and so the name Bloody Point has stuck there. And if you ever make it down to the Bloody Point restaurant, there's an artist rendition on the wall. It's a large one to take a look at, and it really kind of depicts what the battle must have been like, the massacre.
Fascinating, fascinating. So what impact does Daufuskie have on tourism, on our tourism-based economy?
Thank you. And because a lot of, basically we are dependent on tourism over on Daufuskie. We don't really have any industry over in that, our golf courses and our restaurants and stuff. But since we are a bridgeless island, that means anyone that comes to visit us is going to pass through the surrounding communities. They're going to be passing through Hilton Head, Bluffton, Savannah, whichever of the water taxis they're coming. So we do have a definite impact here on the Low Country, where our money is spent in the surrounding communities before it makes it to Daufuskie. And because we are unique, we do have a lot of people that are interested in history and nature visiting Daufuskie, so their draw to get to Daufuskie has an impact on the surrounding communities.
Okay.
So if I wanted to come to Daufuskie, if I was visiting Hilton Head or a resident in Bluffton or however where I may be, how would I get to Daufuskie? What are the fees associated? You know, can you tell us something about that?
Yes, I can. Of course, there's going to be a fee with whichever of the water taxis or the marine transportation you do, and it's going to vary from company to company. And a place to find information about that, of course, will be the Hilton Head Chamber for their website that they have. But we also have a Daufuskie tourism site at the Daufuskie360.net for some information they might not find on there. So each of the companies, you'll find numbers to contact whomever your interest is or look for things to do. So you'll be able to find websites and telephone numbers for individual operators, as well as direct information from the Chamber and for Daufuskie Tourism.
Great, thanks.
Well, Robin Townsend, thank you very much. And we'll be back with more 843 TV.